The unexpected student. The Galactic Institute of Psychic Studies loomed before Jack Harrison, its crystalline spires reaching impossibly high into the azure sky of Xylox Prime. He adjusted the environmental suit that kept him alive in the alien atmosphere, took a deep breath of filtered air, and strode towards the ornate entrance. As the doors slid open with a soft chime, Jack felt a wave of anxiety wash over him. He was the first human to ever set foot in this prestigious institution, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he was woefully out of place. The lobby bustled with activity, a dizzying array of alien species gliding, floating, and scuttling about their business. A holographic directory flickered to life as Jack approached. He squinted at the unfamiliar script before remembering to activate his universal translator. Psychic Sensitivity 101, Classroom 17B, he muttered, following the pulsing path that appeared on the floor. The classroom door whooshed open, and Jack stepped inside, acutely aware of the sudden silence that fell over the room. 24 pairs of eyes, or equivalent sensory organs, turned to stare at him. The alien students were a diverse bunch. Some resembled abstract sculptures come to life. Others looked like they'd stepped out of Earth's own sci-fi movies, and a few defied description altogether. At the front of the room, a being that appeared to be made entirely of shimmering light waves paused mid-lecture. Its voice, when it spoke, resonated directly in Jack's mind. "Ah, you must be our special enrollment. Jack Harrison of Earth." "Yes." Jack nodded, trying not to fidget under the collective gaze of the class. "That's me. Sorry I'm late. Had a bit of trouble with the teleporter." A ripple of what might have been laughter, or possibly disgust, ran through the room. The instructor's light waves pulsed in what Jack hoped was amusement. "No matter. I am Professor Zixlana. Please, take a seat. We were just discussing the fundamental principles of psychic energy manipulation." Jack made his way to an empty seat, acutely aware of how his heavy footsteps contrasted with the graceful movements of his classmates. He settled into a chair that seemed designed for a body type very different from his own, feeling like a bull in a china shop. Professor Zixlana resumed the lecture, projecting complex equations and diagrams into the air. Jack's translator struggled to keep up with the technical jargon, and he found himself growing increasingly lost. "Now," the professor announced, "let's begin with a simple exercise. Everyone, please focus on the crystal in front of you. Reach out with your mind and attempt to alter its vibrational frequency." Jack looked down at his desk, where a small, multifaceted crystal sat. Around him, his classmates closed their eyes, or equivalent organs, in concentration. The air hummed with psychic energy as the crystals began to glow and change colors. Jack stared at his crystal, willing it to do something, anything. After a few moments of intense concentration, he felt a bead of sweat roll down his forehead. The crystal remained stubbornly inert. "Having trouble, Mr. Harrison?" Professor Zixlana's voice startled him. I'm not sure I'm doing it right," Jack admitted, feeling heat rise to his cheeks. The professor's light waves rippled thoughtfully. "Perhaps a different approach. Humans are primarily physical beings, yes? Try touching the crystal." Ignoring the curious glances from his classmates, Jack picked up the crystal. The moment his fingers made contact, the gem flared to life with a brilliant blue light. Gasps echoed around the room. "Fascinating," Professor Zixlana mused. "It seems your species channels psychic energy through physical contact. Most unusual, but effective nonetheless." Jack grinned, a small surge of pride cutting through his embarrassment. Maybe he wasn't so out of place after all. As the class progressed, Jack found himself struggling to keep up with the more advanced techniques. While his classmates effortlessly projected their thoughts and manipulated energy fields, he felt like he was fumbling in the dark. During a paired exercise, Jack was partnered with a jellyfish-like being named Orcs. They were tasked with establishing a basic telepathic link. "Okay," Jack said, facing his partner. "How do we do this?" Orcs's tentacles waved in what might have been exasperation. Simply open your mind and reach out with your thoughts. It is elementary. Jack closed his eyes, trying to imagine his thoughts extending outward. He concentrated so hard that his head began to ache, but he felt nothing. Suddenly, he remembered something from his brief training on Earth. Humans, they had discovered, sometimes achieved limited psychic abilities in high-stress situations. An idea formed in his mind. "Hey, Orcs," Jack said, opening his eyes. "I'm going to try something. Don't freak out, okay?" Before his partner could respond, Jack let out a blood-curdling scream. The entire class jumped in shock, and Professor Zixlana's light waves flared brightly. In that moment of surprise and heightened emotion, Jack felt something, a faint tickle at the edge of his consciousness. He focused on it, and suddenly he could sense Slorex's bewilderment and alarm. "I did it," Jack exclaimed, his face breaking into a wide grin. "I can feel what you're feeling." Professor Zixlana glided over, their curiosity palpable. "Mr. Harrison, while your method is unorthodox, it appears to be effective. Perhaps there is something to be learned from the human approach to psychic abilities." As the class ended, Jack felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. He had a long way to go, but he'd proven that humans weren't as psychically inept as the galactic community had assumed. As he packed up his things, a small group of his classmates approached. Their initial wariness had given way to genuine curiosity. "Your techniques are most intriguing," Jack Harrison said, a beam that looked like a sentient crystal formation. "Would you be willing to discuss them further over nutrient consumption?" Jack smiled, realizing he was being invited to the alien equivalent of grabbing lunch with classmates. "I'd be happy to," he replied. "Fair warning, though, human mealtimes can get pretty chaotic." As they left the classroom, Jack couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. He might be the least psychically gifted student in the class, but he was determined to show the galaxy what humans were capable of, one unorthodox solution at a time. Little did Jack know that his unconventional approaches were about to shake up the Galactic Institute of Psychic Studies in ways no one could have predicted. Psychic challenges. As weeks passed at the Galactic Institute of Psychic Studies, Jack Harrison found himself settling into an unusual routine. Each day brought new challenges that tested not only his fledgling psychic abilities, but also his human ingenuity. The morning of the midterm practical exam dawned with an air of nervous excitement. Jack entered the examination hall, a vast chamber that seemed to shift and change with each step. Around him, his alien classmates chittered, hummed, and pulsed with anticipation. Professor Zixlana's voice resonated through the room. "Today, you will face a series of psychic challenges. Each test is designed to push the boundaries of your abilities. Remember, there is no single correct approach. Trust in your training and your instincts." The first challenge materialized before them. A shimmering maze of energy fields, crackling with psychic interference. The goal was to navigate through it using only their minds to sense the safe path. Jack watched as his classmates began to float through the maze, their bodies surrounded by glowing auras as they pushed aside the energy fields. When his turn came, he took a deep breath and stepped forward. The moment he entered the maze, Jack's mind was assaulted by a cacophony of psychic noise. He winced, his steps faltering. The traditional approach clearly wasn't going to work for him. Then he remembered something from his high school physics class. Energy fields could be disrupted by introducing a conflicting frequency. But how could he generate a psychic frequency without innate abilities? An idea struck him. Jack began to hum, starting low and gradually increasing in pitch. He focused all his concentration on the sound, imagining it resonating through his body and out into the energy field. To his amazement, the shimmering barriers before him began to waver. As he continued to hum, varying the pitch and intensity, gaps appeared in the maze. Jack grinned and pressed forward, his strange song guiding him through the challenge. When he emerged on the other side, he found Professor Zixlana waiting, their light waves pulsing with what Jack had learned to recognize as intrigue. Most unorthodox, Mr. Harrison, the professor mused. I've never seen someone use auditory vibrations to manipulate psychic energy fields. Fascinating. Jack shrugged, trying to catch his breath. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. The next challenge proved even more daunting. Students were required to lift and manipulate a series of objects using only their psychic abilities. Jack watched in awe as his classmates effortlessly floated crystals, rearranged complex puzzles, and even transformed the molecular structure of certain items. When Jack's turn came, he approached the table of objects with trepidation. He focused on a small crystal sphere, willing it to move. The sphere remained stubbornly in place. Frustration bubbled up inside him. He was so close to proving that humans could keep up in this psychic arena, but his limitations were becoming painfully clear. Then, a memory surfaced. During his first week, he had accidentally triggered a psychic response through physical touch. Perhaps. Jack reached out and grasped the crystal sphere. Instantly, he felt a connection, as if the crystal was an extension of his own body. He focused on that feeling, imagining the sphere as part of his hand. To his astonishment, when he lifted his hand, the sphere rose with it, hovering just above his palm. A murmur of surprise rippled through the observing students. Encouraged, Jack tried something more ambitious. He picked up a puzzle cube with his other hand, establishing the same connection. Then, with intense concentration, he attempted to solve the puzzle using his mind. It was like trying to pat his head and rub his stomach at the same time, but multiplied in complexity. Sweat beaded on Jack's forehead as he manipulated the puzzle pieces mentally while maintaining the levitation of the sphere. After several tense minutes, both tasks were complete. The puzzle cube had been solved, and the sphere still hovered above his hand. Jack let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding, and the objects gently lowered back to the table. Professor Zixlana glided forward, their fascination evident. Mr. Harrison, you continue to surprise us. Your method of establishing a physical connection to channel psychic energy is most intriguing. It seems humans have psychic potential we never anticipated. The final challenge of the day was perhaps the most daunting. Psychic defense. Students were paired up and tasked with defending their minds against psychic probes while simultaneously attempting to breach their partner's defenses. Jack was paired with Zora X, a being composed of swirling gases contained within a humanoid force field. As they faced each other, Jack felt woefully unprepared. "Begin," Professor Zixlana announced. Immediately, Jack felt a pressure against his mind, as if an invisible force was trying to push its way into his thoughts. He instinctively recoiled, trying to imagine a wall around his consciousness. To his surprise, the pressure lessened slightly. Encouraged, Jack focused on reinforcing his mental barrier. He thought of the most resilient substances he knew: diamond, titanium, carbon nanotubes. In his mind's eye, he constructed layers of impenetrable defenses. Zara X's psychic probes became more insistent, searching for weaknesses in Jack's mental armor. Jack gritted his teeth, pouring all his concentration into maintaining his defenses. Then, remembering that this was supposed to be a two-way challenge, Jack tried to push back against Zara X's mind. He imagined his thoughts as a battering ram, hammering against his opponent's psychic shields. What happened next took everyone by surprise. There was a sudden flash of light, and both Jack and Zara X stumbled backward. In that moment of impact, Jack had a brief, intense vision of swirling galaxies and cosmic winds, a glimpse into the alien mind of his opponent. As the light faded, Jack blinked in confusion. Around the room, students and instructors alike were staring at him in shock. Professor Zixlana hurried over, their light waves flickering rapidly. "Mr. Harrison, are you all right? What you just did, it shouldn't have been possible for a novice, let alone a human." Jack rubbed his temples, feeling a headache coming on. "I'm fine, I think. What exactly did I do?" The professor's voice was filled with a mixture of concern and excitement. "You achieved a full psychic link with Zora X. For a moment, Your minds were completely open to each other. It's a level of connection that usually takes years of training to accomplish. As the implications of what he'd done sank in, Jack felt a wave of exhaustion wash over him. He pushed himself further than ever before, tapping into abilities he never knew he possessed. As the exam concluded, Jack's classmates gathered around him, their earlier wariness replaced by genuine respect and curiosity. Questions flew from all directions. How had he done it? Was this common among humans? Could he teach them his techniques? Jack laughed, holding up his hands. Honestly, I'm figuring this out as I go along. But I think today proved that humans might have more psychic potential than anyone realized. We just access it differently. As they left the examination hall, Jack couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. He'd faced challenges designed for species with natural psychic abilities, and had not only survived but excelled. Yet, as he caught Professor Zixlana's concerned gaze, Jack realized that his unorthodox success might have opened up a whole new set of challenges, ones that neither he nor the Galactic Institute were fully prepared for. Little did Jack know that his accidental psychic link with Zora X had set in motion events that would soon ripple across the galaxy, challenging everything the psychic community thought they knew about humans and their place in the cosmic order. The mind meld incident. In the wake of his surprising performance during the midterm practical exam, Jack Harrison found himself the subject of intense curiosity among his alien classmates. His unorthodox methods and unexpected psychic breakthrough had sparked debates throughout the Galactic Institute of Psychic Studies. As Jack entered the classroom for their next group meditation session, he could feel the weight of expectant gazes upon him. Professor Zixlana's light waves pulsed with an energy that Jack had come to recognize as excitement tinged with caution. Today, the professor's voice resonated in their minds. We will attempt a group meditation exercise. The goal is to achieve a state of collective consciousness, allowing for the free flow of thoughts and emotions between participants. This is an advanced technique, so do not be discouraged if you struggle to connect. The students arranged themselves in a circle, with Jack settling cross-legged between Xlorix, the jellyfish-like being he befriended, and a crystalline entity named Crix. As they prepared to begin, Jack couldn't shake a feeling of nervous anticipation. Close your eyes, or whatever sensory organs you use for visual input, Professor Zixlana instructed. Focus on your breathing, or your equivalent life-sustaining processes. Feel the energy flowing through you, connecting you to the universe around you. Jack closed his eyes, trying to calm his racing thoughts. He focused on his breathing, imagining each inhale drawing in cosmic energy, each exhale releasing tension. Gradually, he felt himself relaxing, slipping into a meditative state. Now, the professor's voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Reach out with your mind. Feel the presence of those around you. Gently extend your consciousness towards them, allowing for a meeting of minds. Jack hesitated, unsure how to proceed. His previous psychic successes had been largely accidental or driven by instinct in high-pressure situations. This calm, controlled environment felt foreign to him. Then, he remembered his breakthrough during the exam. He had achieved a connection by imagining his thoughts as a tangible force. Perhaps a similar approach could work here. Jack envisioned his consciousness as a soft, warm light emanating from his body. He imagined this light extending outward, gently reaching for the minds around him. At first, he felt nothing but the quiet of his own thoughts. Then suddenly, a flicker of something not his own brushed against his mind. Startled but intrigued, Jack focused on that foreign sensation. Trying to strengthen the connection, images began to flash through his mind. Vast oceanic worlds, the sensation of floating through space without a suit, the complex beauty of multidimensional crystals. Jack realized he was catching glimpses of his classmates' memories and experiences. Encouraged, he pushed further, allowing his own memories to flow outward. He shared images of Earth's diverse landscapes, the thrill of human sports, the warm comfort of family gatherings. He felt a surge of wonder and curiosity from the alien minds connected to his. As the meditation deepened, Jack felt the individual connections blurring together. It was as if his consciousness was expanding, encompassing not just his own thoughts, but those of everyone in the circle. The sensation was overwhelming but exhilarating. In this state of expanded awareness, Jack began to perceive things he hadn't before. He sensed the complex web of relationships between his classmates, the hopes and fears that drove them. But more than that, he started to understand the very nature of psychic energy itself. It wasn't some mystical force that humans lacked, but a fundamental aspect of consciousness that all sentient beings possessed. The aliens in his class simply had more evolved ways of accessing and manipulating this energy. Humans, with their highly adaptable minds, had the potential to tap into this power in unique and unexpected ways. As this realization crystallized in Jack's mind, something extraordinary happened. The collective consciousness of the group suddenly intensified, as if Jack's understanding had unlocked a new level of connection. In that moment, every being in the circle experienced a profound shift in perspective. They saw the universe through each other's eyes, felt the pulse of life on countless worlds, and glimpsed the infinite possibilities of existence. For Jack, it was like seeing in color for the first time after a lifetime of monochrome. The psychic realm, once so foreign and inaccessible, now felt like an integral part of his being. He understood, on a fundamental level, how to reach out with his mind and touch the cosmic tapestry of consciousness. But the experience was not without its risks. As the intensity of the connection peaked, Jack felt himself being pulled deeper into the collective mindscape. The boundaries between self and other began to blur, and for a terrifying moment, he feared he might lose himself entirely. With a monumental effort of will, Jack managed to assert his individuality while maintaining the connection. He became a focal point within the group mind, unconsciously guiding and stabilizing the shared consciousness. How long they remained in this state, none could say. It might have been minutes or hours. But eventually, Professor Zixlana's voice cut through the shared mindscape, gently guiding them back to individual awareness. Slowly now, begin to withdraw your consciousness. Remember who you are, where you are. Gently return to your physical forms. One by one, the students began to stir, breaking the connection. As Jack opened his eyes, he was startled to see that the entire class was surrounded by a soft, pulsing glow that faded as full awareness returned. The room was silent for several long moments as everyone processed what had just occurred. Then, all at once, excited chatter erupted. Students turned to each other, gesticulating wildly as they discussed the shared experience. Professor Zixlana's light waves were pulsing so rapidly they were almost a blur. When they spoke, their mental voice quivered with barely contained excitement. In all my cycles of teaching, I have never witnessed such a profound group meditation. The level of connection you achieved, it shouldn't have been possible for students at your level of training. The professor's gaze fixed on Jack. Mr. Harrison, it seems you were at the center of this extraordinary event. Somehow, your presence acted as a catalyst, enhancing and stabilizing the group consciousness. Jack, still reeling from the intensity of the experience, struggled to find words. I'm not sure what happened, Professor. It was like I could suddenly see how everything connected. And then you guided us all to a deeper understanding. Florix interjected, their tentacles waving in agitation. I saw the universe through your eyes, Jack. I felt what it means to be human. Crix, the crystalline being, chimed in with a sound like tinkling bells. The insights we gained, they could revolutionize our understanding of psychic phenomena and of humanity's place in the galactic community. As the implications of what had occurred began to sink in, Jack felt a mix of exhilaration and trepidation. He had come to the Galactic Institute hoping to prove that humans weren't as psychically inept as the galaxy believed. Instead, he might have demonstrated that humans had the potential to push the boundaries of psychic ability in ways no one had imagined. Professor Zixlana's next words confirmed Jack's thoughts. Mr. Harrison, I believe we are on the cusp of a significant discovery. Your unique approach to psychic abilities, combined with humanity's adaptable nature, could open up entirely new avenues of study." The professor paused, their light waves taking on a more serious tone. "However, such potential also comes with risks. The intensity of the connection you facilitated, in untrained hands, it could be dangerous. We must proceed with caution." As the class was dismissed, still buzzing with excitement, Jack lingered behind. The enormity of what had happened weighed heavily on him. He had come to the Institute feeling like an outsider, struggling to keep up. Now, he found himself at the center of what might be a paradigm shift in galactic psychic studies. As he left the classroom, lost in thought, Jack failed to notice the figure watching him from the shadows. A being cloaked in shifting darkness, its eyes gleaming with an unsettling intelligence. It had sensed the surge of psychic energy and had come to investigate. As Jack disappeared down the corridor, the figure melted back into the shadows. Things were changing in the galaxy, and humanity was at the heart of it. The coming days would determine whether this change would bring enlightenment or chaos to the cosmic order. Little did Jack know that his accidental breakthrough was about to catapult him into the center of a galactic crisis, one that would test not only his newfound abilities, but the very foundations of human resilience and ingenuity. Galactic crisis. The days following the mind meld incident passed in a blur of excitement and intense study. Jack Harrison found himself at the center of a whirlwind of attention, with researchers and advanced students clamoring to work with him. His unique approach to psychic abilities had opened up new avenues of study, and the Galactic Institute of Psychic Studies was buzzing with the possibilities. However, as Jack sat in Professor Zixlana's advanced seminar on cosmic consciousness, he couldn't shake a feeling of unease. It was as if a shadow loomed at the edge of his perception, just out of sight. The professor was in the middle of explaining a complex theory about the interconnectedness of all sentient minds when alarms suddenly blared throughout the institute. The classroom's holographic displays flickered and changed, showing a massive energy disturbance spreading across the galaxy. Professor Zixlana's light waves pulsed with alarm. "By the cosmic void. This is unprecedented." The door burst open, and a harried-looking administrator rushed in. "Professor, we need you and your students in the Grand Amphitheater immediately. The Galactic Council is convening an emergency session." As they hurried through the corridors, Jack turned to Clorix, who was undulating nervously beside him. "What's going on? What could cause a disturbance on this scale?" Clorix's tentacles writhed with anxiety. "I'm not certain, but from what I overheard, it seems that a massive psychic shockwave is rippling through the galaxy. Entire planetary populations are falling into comas. Psychic communication networks are collapsing. It's chaos out there." They entered the Grand Amphitheater, which was rapidly filling with students and faculty from all departments. At the center, a massive holographic projection showed the faces of the Galactic Council members, their alien features etched with concern. High Counselor Zahn, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate mechanical suit, addressed the assembly. "Esteemed colleagues, we face an unprecedented crisis. A psychic anomaly of immense power has manifested in the Ophiuchi sector. Its effects are spreading rapidly, disrupting the very fabric of galactic society." Murmurs of fear and confusion rippled through the crowd. Jack felt a chill run down his spine as he realized the magnitude of the situation. Zahn continued, "Our most powerful psychics have attempted to contain or communicate with the anomaly, but to no avail. It seems to be feeding on psychic energy, growing stronger with each attempt to stop it." Professor Zixlana floated forward, their light waves pulsing rapidly. "High Counselor, if I may have a solution. Recent discoveries here at the Institute suggest that alternative approaches to psychic interaction could yield unexpected results." The professor's gaze fell on Jack, who suddenly felt the weight of every eye in the room upon him. "Mr. Harrison, would you please step forward?" On shaky legs, Jack approached the center of the amphitheater. He could feel the curiosity and skepticism radiating from the assembled aliens. Zahn's energy form flickered with interest. The human. How could this primitive species possibly help in a crisis of this magnitude? Jack bristled at the description, but held his tongue. Professor Zixlana quickly explained the breakthroughs they had achieved, emphasizing Jack's unique ability to catalyze and stabilize complex psychic connections. As understanding dawned on the council members, a new plan began to take shape. They would assemble a team of the galaxy's most powerful psychics, with Jack acting as a focal point and stabilizer. Together, they would attempt to establish contact with the anomaly and find a way to neutralize it. Preparations moved at a frenetic pace. Within hours, Jack found himself aboard a sleek spacecraft hurtling towards the Ophiuchi sector. Around him, beings of incredible psychic power meditated, preparing themselves for the challenge ahead. As they approached the anomaly, Jack got his first visual glimpse of it through the ship's view screen. It was a swirling vortex of energy, pulsing with colors that hurt to look at directly. Even at this distance, he could feel its pull on his mind. The ship's captain, a multi-limbed being named Kizak, turned to Jack with all four of its eyes. "We're as close as we dare approach. Any nearer, and we risk being drawn in. It's up to you and the psychic team now." Jack nodded, trying to project a confidence he didn't entirely feel. He made his way to the ship's meditation chamber, where the assembled psychics waited. Beings of all shapes and sizes, some physical, others pure energy, all united in their purpose. As Jack took his place at the center of their circle, he closed his eyes and reached out with his mind. He felt the others doing the same, their immense psychic powers unfurling like cosmic sails. Using the techniques he had developed, Jack imagined himself as a conduit, a bridge between these disparate minds. He felt their consciousnesses flow through him, merging into a unified force. With their combined might, they reached out towards the anomaly. The moment their psychic probe touched its surface, Jack felt a jolt of energy that nearly overwhelmed him. The anomaly's power was vast, alien, and hungry. As they struggled to maintain the connection, Jack began to perceive patterns within the chaos. The anomaly wasn't a natural phenomenon. It was a construct, a psychic weapon of immense power. Flashes of memory bombarded him. A long-forgotten war, a desperate gambit to create the ultimate deterrent, a terrible accident that led to the weapon's containment. And now, millennia later, its awakening. Understanding flooded through Jack. The anomaly was operating on pure instinct, consuming psychic energy in an attempt to fulfill its original purpose. But that purpose was long obsolete, its creators lost to time. An idea formed in Jack's mind. Born from his uniquely human perspective, the anomaly was like a computer program stuck in a loop, unable to terminate its function. Perhaps, with the right input, they could give it a new purpose. Jack focused all his will, using the combined psychic might of the team to project a new set of instructions into the anomaly. Instead of destruction, he offered creation. Instead of consumption, symbiosis. For a moment that stretched into eternity, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the anomaly began to change. Its chaotic swirling calmed, the painful colors shifting into soothing hues. As the new purpose took hold, the anomaly's effects on the galaxy began to reverse. Across countless worlds, beings awakened from their comas. Psychic networks flickered back to life, stronger than before. The anomaly, once a weapon of unimaginable destruction, had been transformed into a psychic nexus, a beacon of connection and understanding for all sentient beings. As Jack and the psychic team withdrew from their shared consciousness, exhausted but triumphant, cheers erupted throughout the ship. They had faced an extinction-level threat and emerged victorious. High Counselor Zahn's voice crackled over the ship's communication system, filled with awe and gratitude. "You've done it. You've saved us all. And more than that, you've given us a gift beyond measure. The galaxy owes you, and humanity, a great debt." As the reality of their achievement sank in, Jack felt a mix of relief, pride, and lingering disbelief. He, A human who had arrived at the Galactic Institute feeling like an outsider had played a crucial role in averting the galactic catastrophe. But even as they celebrated, Jack couldn't help but wonder about the implications of what they had discovered. The existence of ancient psychic weapons, the untapped potential of human psychic abilities, the new galactic nexus they had created. All of these would reshape the cosmic order in ways no one could fully predict. As the ship began its journey back to the Institute, Jack gazed out at the stars, pondering the future. Humanity's place in the galaxy had been irrevocably changed. The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning. Graduation and beyond. The grand amphitheater of the Galactic Institute of Psychic Studies was filled to capacity, a sea of diverse alien life forms buzzing with excitement. At the center of it all stood Jack Harrison, still somewhat overwhelmed by the events of the past few weeks. The defeat of the psychic anomaly had catapulted Jack from an oddity in his class to a galactic hero. As he waited for the ceremony to begin, he couldn't help but reflect on the whirlwind journey that had brought him to this point. High Counselor Zon's energy form shimmered at the podium, drawing all eyes. Esteemed beings of the galaxy, we are gathered here today not just for a graduation, but to mark a turning point in galactic history. Zon's gaze settled on Jack. Jack Harrison of Earth, please step forward. As Jack approached the podium, he felt the weight of countless alien gazes upon him. Zon's energy form pulsed with what Jack had come to recognize as respect and admiration. Mr. Harrison, your actions during the recent crisis have demonstrated that humanity possesses potential far beyond what we had previously believed. Your unique approach to psychic abilities, born from your species' remarkable adaptability, has opened new frontiers in our understanding of the cosmos. Jack felt a surge of pride, not just for himself, but for all of humanity. Thank you, High Counselor. But I couldn't have done it without the training I received here and the support of my classmates and teachers. Professor Zixlana floated forward, their light waves pulsing with pride. Jack has shown us that there are many paths to psychic mastery. His methods, while unorthodox, have proven to be incredibly effective. It is my honor to present him with not just a diploma, but a newly created accolade. The Innovator's Starburst. A glowing, multidimensional object materialized before Jack. As he reached out to accept it, he felt a surge of psychic energy, as if the award itself was alive with possibility. High Counselor Zon addressed the assembly once more. In light of recent events, the Galactic Council has made a historic decision. Earth will be offered full membership in the Galactic Federation, effective immediately. A chorus of cheers and telepathic applause filled the amphitheater. Jack's mind reeled at the implications. Humanity, once considered a backwater species, was about to take its place among the stars. As the ceremony concluded, Jack found himself surrounded by his alien classmates, all eager to congratulate him and discuss the future. Florix undulated excitedly. Jack, this is wonderful news. Will you be staying at the Institute to continue your research? Before Jack could respond, Crix chimed in, their crystalline form sparkling with enthusiasm. Or perhaps you'll join the Galactic Diplomatic Corps. Your skills would be invaluable in fostering understanding between species. Jack smiled, touched by his friend's excitement. Actually, I have a different idea. With the Council's blessing, I'm planning to establish an Earth branch of the Institute. Professor Zixlana, overhearing the conversation, floated over. An excellent proposal, Jack. Bridging the gap between Earth's scientific methods and galactic psychic knowledge could lead to remarkable breakthroughs. As the celebration continued, Jack found a quiet moment to step out onto a balcony overlooking the shimmering cityscape of Tylox Prime. The alien world that had once seemed so foreign now felt like a second home. A gentle psychic touch alerted him to Professor Zixlana's presence. Credit for your thoughts, Jack. Jack chuckled, just thinking about how much has changed. When I first arrived here, I felt like a complete outsider. Now, I'm helping to shape the future of human-alien relations. The professor's light waves pulsed thoughtfully. Change is the only constant in the universe, Jack. Your journey here has changed not just you, but all of us. The galaxy is entering a new era, and humanity will play a crucial role in shaping it. As if to emphasize the point, a holographic news bulletin flickered to life nearby. It showed scenes of celebration on Earth as news of their new galactic status spread. Politicians, scientists, and ordinary citizens alike were shown reacting with joy and amazement. One image in particular caught Jack's eye. A young girl, her face filled with wonder, pointing to the stars. The caption read, "The next generation of human psychics." Jack felt a surge of emotion. We have so much to learn, but also so much to offer. Professor Zixlana's voice was filled with warmth. Indeed, your species' creativity, your ability to find unconventional solutions, your indomitable spirit, these are gifts the galaxy sorely needs. As they watched the twin suns of Silox Prime setting, painting the sky in hues no Earth artist had ever imagined, Jack's mind turned to the future. The establishment of the Earth Institute of Psychic Studies would be just the beginning. There would be cultural exchanges, scientific collaborations, perhaps even joint human-alien space exploration missions. But there would also be challenges. Not everyone in the galaxy would welcome humanity's sudden rise to prominence. There would be skeptics, rivals, perhaps even enemies. The ancient psychic weapon they had encountered hinted at darker aspects of galactic history that had yet to be uncovered. Yet as Jack looked out at the vast, star-filled sky, he felt not fear, but excitement. Humanity had taken its first true steps into a larger universe, and he had played a part in making it happen. A sudden flash of insight struck him, a remnant perhaps of his connection to the transformed psychic anomaly. For a brief moment, Jack glimpsed potential futures branching out before him. Humanity spreading across the stars, Earth becoming a hub of galactic culture and innovation, new forms of art and music born from the blending of human and alien influences. He saw challenges too, diplomatic tensions, cultural misunderstandings, the need to balance progress with the preservation of human identity. But in each possible future, he saw humanity rising to meet these challenges with the same spirit that had brought them to the stars. As the vision faded, Jack turned back to Professor Zixlana, a new determination in his eyes. "We've got a lot of work ahead of us, Professor." The professor's light waves pulsed with amusement and affection. "Indeed we do, Jack. Indeed we do. But if your time here has shown us anything, it's that with human ingenuity and cosmic wisdom combined, there's no challenge we cannot overcome." As they made their way back to the graduation celebration, Jack felt a sense of boundless possibility. The story of humanity among the stars was just beginning, and he couldn't wait to see how it would unfold. The universe, vast and mysterious, pulsed with potential, and humanity, with its unique blend of determination, creativity, and newfound psychic potential, was ready to make its mark upon the cosmic stage. As Jack rejoined his classmates, now fellow pioneers in this new age of galactic cooperation, he knew that the greatest adventures still lay ahead. The stars were calling, and humanity was finally ready to answer.